So my question was that yesterday Mr. Rahul Gandhi alleged that there are list of the willful defaulters, including the Nirav Modi and Mehul Choksi and Vijay Mallya. Government has responded to that. Finance Minister has said that these type of loans were given during UPA, and now they have been waived off. They have been write off by the procedure of the RBI. And Union Minister Prakash Javadekar has categorically said that writing off doesn't mean the waiving off. The Congress party is confusing, is creating confusion on the issue.
All right. I've understood your question. There are two questions. Firstly, I asked in Parliament to government to say, when were the loans given? I said, break it up into 3 periods. Loans given prior to 2004 in the Vajpayee ji's regime. Loans given between 2004 and 2014, and loans given after 2014. Your NPA must be broken up into 3 parts. There's no answer so far. I asked this in Parliament. There's no answer so far. Why don't they break up the NPAs into pre-2004, 2004 to 2014, and post-2014? That will give us an idea when the loans were given and which loans have become NPA. You hide that information. You refuse to answer the question. You don't give the breakup, and you keep on throwing these accusations. All these loans were given during the UPA regime. Is the government seriously suggesting that no loans were given after 2014? Or that all the loans given after 2014 are performing loans? I mean, what do they take the people of India for? We may be stupid, we're not so stupid. Loans have been given after 2014. Loans were given prior to 2004 also. Give the breakup. That's answer to question number 1. Question number 2, yes, we understand the technical rules of the RBI. The point is not that. There are defaulters, there are willful defaulters. There are willful defaulters who are staying back in India, facing inquiries and trying their best to pay back. And there are willful defaulters who have fled India and have been declared fugitives. Your RBI rule can apply maybe to the first, second, and third categories. After 4 years, the full provisioning is made, you can technically write off the loan. That you can do for defaulters, willful defaulters, and willful defaulters who are staying back and trying to face an inquiry. But why do you apply that rule to a willful defaulter who has fled India and your government has declared him a fugitive? That's the question. That is the question we've been asking. Why does this rule apply to the Nirav Modis and the Vijay Mallyas and the Mehul Chokshis? They're being declared fugitives. That's where we question the bona fides of this government. Lastly, I want to say something. A finance minister was silent for the last 37 days, suddenly sprung to life and sprung to the defense of these fugitives. Isn't that a little surprising and ironical?
Right, sir. We'll move to the next question. Arun from Network 18, please come in, Arunji.
Thank you, Pranav. Chidambaram ji, you must have seen a series of tweets by Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman yesterday night. And these tweets came after your party's press conference and your former president's tweet on reports that this government has write-off more than 68,000 crore to 50 willful defaulters. She, in one of her tweets, categorically said, "Kisi ka loan maaf nahi kiya gaya hai. The recovery process is still on." What is your reaction on her tweet?
She's quoting a technical rule. We are not on the technicality. In fact, Mr. Randeep Surjewala has answered all those technical points. The point I'm making is a larger point. Assuming there is a technical rule, why apply it to the cases of Nirav Modi, Mehul Chokshi, Vijay Mallya, who are declared fugitives and absconders? She should answer that question. I'll tell you the numbers. For Nirav Modi and Mehul Chokshi, it's 8,048 crore. For Jatin Mehta, it is 6,038 crore. For Vijay Mallya, it's 1,943 crore. Why does that technical rule apply in these three cases and in the cases of others who have been declared fugitives?
Thank you.
Right, sir. Thank you. We'll go to the next question. Sanjeev Chopra from PTI. Sanjeev, please come in.
Yeah. Thank you, Pranavji. Good morning, Mr. Chidambaram.
Yes.
Yeah, I just wanted to know, since a lot of you and cry over the RBI list of top 50 loan defaulters. So, since the government is saying that they are only technically written off, and are they recoverable at all at this stage, since the RBI said they're only technically written off? So are they recoverable or not? And secondly, on the government's criticism that the Congress is misleading the people because around 1.45 lakh crore worth of such loans were also written off between 2009 and 2014 by the UPA government.
I'm not saying there is no technical rule. Why does she take shelter behind the technical rule? The point I'm asking is, why do you apply the technical rule to somebody who's been declared a fugitive, who's left the country stealthily, and you are trying to get him back? That is the question that I'm asking. Yes, I'm sure between 2004 and 2014, banks were applying the rule and technically writing off 1.6 lakh crore. But by the same token, between 2014 and 2019, the Modi government has written off 6,66,000 crore. So when you mention 1.6 lakh crore, should not the finance minister also mention the 6,66,000 crore rupees that her government has written off between 2014 and 2019? Are they recoverable? I don't know. They may be recoverable if there are assets in India or worldwide. Those are questions which the government must answer. But the more fundamental question is, when Mr. Rahul Gandhi asked the names in Parliament, the finance minister refused to disclose the name. Thank God the RBI has disclosed the names. That is point one. Point two, she should still answer, why is this rule being applied to fugitives? Let me repeat that. This rule can be applied to other categories of defaulters, but why is it being applied to fugitives?
Thank you, sir. We'll move to the next question. Raman from News 24, please come in.
धन्यवाद प्रणब जी सर कल रात में yesterday night Nirmala Sitharaman tweeted and today Prakash Javadekar tweeted. An interesting part of Prakash Javadekkar's tweet, Rahul Gandhi should take tuition from P. Chidambaram on the difference between write-off and waive-off. Narendra Modi government has not waived off any loan. What is differences between write-off and waive-off according to Prakash Javadekar?
You see, I'm now taking tuition from the finance minister and the HRD minister. I don't mind. I'm not holding a tuition class. Let me tell you,
There's information.
There is a rule which says if full provisioning is made, you can do a technical write-off, but still the loan can be recovered through legal means. One is not denying that there's such a rule. There is such a rule. But that rule will apply to a normal defaulter whose business has failed. That rule will apply even to a willful defaulter who has, say, hidden his income or hidden his assets. It may even apply to a willful defaulter who has committed a crime but remains in India, faces an inquiry by the income tax department, by the banks, by the CBI or whatever. But the point we are asking is, these are fugitives. They have fled India. Under your nose, they left India. You have declared them fugitives and absconders. Why are you applying this rule to the Nirav Modis, Mehul Chokshis, and Vijay Mallyas? That is the question they should answer. Am I clear? That is the question they should answer.
Yes, sir. Yes. Thank you.
Right, sir. Thank you.
I
We'll
have a
move to the
question
next
for
one. Yeah, Sandeep Phukan, please come in.
Yeah, sir, you know, in your statement, you've listed out many of the things, including a paycheck protection, waiving off of employers' liability to pay provident fund and so on. But if you look at the steps so far that the government has taken, they are more like, you know, cutting down, freezing the dearness allowance, cutting down salaries of ministers and members of parliament. It seems to me that the government is actually worried about its own revenue estimates. The budget that they got passed just last month probably will have to be completely reworked. So do you think that the center even has that kind of wherewithal or fiscal bandwidth to give these kind of dole-outs to states or others?
See, every step that the government has taken, like cutting interest rates on small savings instruments, on PPF, on cutting dearness allowance or suspending dearness allowance and dearness relief. Firstly, are band-aid solutions. And secondly, they hurt the middle class. They hurt the middle class, which is hardworking and paying taxes. These are extraordinary times. Extraordinary times require extraordinary remedies, extraordinary solutions. Just look back to 2008 in the international financial crisis. If the central banks of the world had followed these conventional rules, the economy of the world would have collapsed. They took what are called unconventional measures. That is what we are pleading. Not only I, but many eminent economists who understand economics far more than any of us does, are pleading that you must do whatever it takes to help the poor, the vulnerable, the neglected, at the same time protect the economy from a complete collapse. Which is why we are saying, yes, your revenues will take a hit, but so will your expenditure also take a hit. For example, you have provided 45,000 crore for BSNL and MTNL revival. That won't be spent this year. Your Central Vista, whatever you've provided, if you cut back, that can't be spent this year. On your bullet train, if you hold back the expenditure, that won't be spent this year. There are ways of cutting expenditure also. But despite that, the revenues will take a hit, the expenditure will take a hit, yet the fiscal deficit will cross 3.5%. You heard the governor RBI say yesterday, whatever we do, the fiscal deficit is going to cross 3.5%. So be it. Let it cross 3.5. Let it go to 4.5. Let it go to 5, which means you'll have to borrow more. So borrow more. That's what everybody in the world is doing. That's what everybody is advocating for India. Borrow more. And if necessary, a part of the fiscal deficit can be monetized later. I think most central banks are open to that idea, and I'm sure RBI will be open to that idea too. Instead of looking at unconventional measures, extraordinary measures for extraordinarily difficult times, the government is indulging in band-aid solutions which are not helping the economy at all.